Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
And hello and welcome to episode 151 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. And this episode is being brought to you by our latest Patreon supporter, Julian Watts. You too can become a Patreon supporter. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per month. Your contributions help with the production costs of the show and are greatly appreciated by us. And of course, you also get an OTB sticker when you become a Patreon. And hello and welcome to the show, coming to you from Scale ACT 2022 in Australia's capital territory, Canberra. And of course, on the show with me, I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day everyone.
And we have our special sit-in guest today who's joining us for the weekend, Sam Dwyer.
Good morning, fellas. Good morning, everyone.
Well,
G'day, Sam.
Afternoon now, I think it might be.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
it is too. Mate, it's with these shows you lose track of time.
Oh, no, tell me about
It's
it.
been a great show so far. Really enjoyed it.
So we've been here for about 3-4 hours now. We've entered our models, done our swap and sell stuff, gone around to all the vendors, and finally sitting down now and just laying some tracks down.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
You've done the first run of the vendors.
Yes.
Yeah.
First and last.
First and last.
I've already spent $400.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, about that. Easy.
Yeah.
I'm not tallying yet.
No.
I haven't finished.
Me neither.
Well, the wife doesn't listen to this, so $200 on kits and $200 on tools.
Nice.
So I've made out like a bandit so far.
You have. There's some good bargains too.
Yeah, good stuff in the swap and sell room.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. So this is our first time in Canberra. Well, certainly is for me and Ian. I don't know about you, Sam.
Yeah, it'll be my fourth or fifth.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, what a great venue and what a great show.
Yeah, they put on a really good show. Yeah. The Canberra guys run it really well.
Oh, 100%.
And this is their 50th anniversary too.
Yeah, it is their 50th anniversary commemorating their inaugural, when they first sort of started 50 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, geez, that's not a bad run, is it? 50 years from Model Club.
It's bloody brilliant.
And they've got a huge membership. I think over 100 members, I think,
That's good.
which
Yeah.
is not bad.
And then for that many members to turn out a show like this
Yes.
is amazing.
Yep.
Do you think that Model Expo isn't a particular club show, it's a everyone show?
Yeah.
And, whilst they're not quite the same level, there's still a ton of models. There's, over 500 models. And Expo was over 600, so it's pretty good.
And what really amazed me, because we went through the swap and sell, which was pretty much first thing Saturday morning, and the most organised and orderly swap and sell I have ever attended in my
Yes.
entire
Really,
life.
really good. Yeah.
It's really weird though. You pick up your kits, then you pay at the end of the.
Yeah.
At the end.
And then they must divvy up the
Yeah.
they know, Bob Smith 23 sold $900 worth of kits. So there's, whatever it is, their take on it sort of
Yeah.
thing. It works.
Yeah,
it does. It works
It's
very well.
a way a lot of other clubs and things should look at it.
And I think they were limiting the number of people
They were,
in there as
yes,
well.
yeah.
I was number 16 through the door. So
I know we saw you. You were way ahead of us.
So
So
I-
going, what the heck?
I dumped my kits at 9:30, and I was just like 9:30, Butte, let's go, and I went straight to the queue, and number 16 in the queue. So,
yeah, I
done.
wasn't going to stand there for an hour, man. To let me
Well,
get
it
in.
ended up being about 25 minutes. I stood there.
But you
So-
went in again a second time.
And well, you bumped. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Tell the listeners. Yeah. So I did my second run through the swap and sell room, and then rang a mate in Melbourne, and he's like, "Oh, give me that." So we bumped into each other as I'm walking out, armful of kits. Only one of them was mine.
Only
Your
one was yours.
second load of armful of kits that I saw you going out with.
Yes. Well, why the hell not?
Yeah. Well, you only do it once or twice.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I've got to say, the level of kits here is absolutely astounding. Ian and I
Yeah.
guess you as well, Sam, have been blown away by the quality that's
Amazing
on the table.
quality. Yeah, well, because, the Canberra guys are fantastic modelers as well, but
Yep.
then the Sydney guys come down. There's a whole bunch of Sydney guys, and then a bunch of us from Melbourne as well.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's a really good draw.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. Like, the ship kits have blown my mind.
Yes,
They are
yes.
some really fine work. There's a Langley, 1350 scale Langley, when they converted it to the seaplane tender. And it's even got washing on the line.
That's awesome.
And it's just incredible build. It just, and also one that really got me was our good friend Chris Meddings, his company.
Inside
with
the Armour.
Inside the Armour, with the little French torpedo boat.
Yes,
Someone's
yes,
built
yes,
one
yes.
here. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. And it looks stunning too.
Yeah.
Absolutely put together, just absolutely gorgeous. And we've sent some pictures off to Chris, so he should be happy with that.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll be
represent.
rapt to see that.
I must admit, I haven't had a huge look at the tables yet. I figured, people will come in, they'll rush and they'll get their models in, and then the crowds will come in, and that'll be cool. So maybe sort of sometime early this arvo, a bit later this afternoon, there'll be a good time to go around and get some photos and get a proper look at the models.
You've entered a few too, haven't you?
Just the 7.
Yeah. Same as Dave.
No, wait, I had entered 7, but I only brought 6 with me because I pulled one off the shelf and I'm cleaning all the dust off it. And as I'm cleaning the dust off it to enter it, I'm looking at it going, oh, I've just seen a flaw. No, I'm not going to put that in.
Oh, damn. Yeah. It's always good to do a check once, just before you pack them in the box.
Yeah.
And of course, Piggy in the middle here, how many did you enter?
9.
Yeah.
But I had to do an emergency repair on the table though. So now Dave and I had a quick look at it and I've gone, heck, one of the machine guns is broken off. So
I
I
was
quickly
really
searched
worried.
through the box. Luckily I found it. It's only about 3 mil long. Bought some super glue.
Spiderweb.
Pop the bag into place.
Yeah, given the state of the roads between here and Melbourne, I was expecting some damage.
Yeah.
I packed accordingly and all that sort of stuff, and hyper nerdy. I set the suspension on my car to soft, so that it was as soft a ride as I could
Yeah.
possibly get up the freeway, and everything was okay. So
Yep.
didn't lose any bombs or nothing broke off. So happy.
Yeah, well, I reckon I broke the machine gun when I was lifting it out of the box.
Yep.
Otherwise, everything was one figure come loose off a base, but I wasn't fussed about that.
I
It
broke
didn't
a
make-
smoke discharger off one of the tanks when I was checking it to see if it was okay to pack. It was like, and not only did I break it off, it's brass. So all the paint fell off the brass. It's good job, Dwyer. So, reprime it, repaint it. And then lucky it's burnt. So it's just black, rust, that'll do. It was a 2-minute job, but it was frustrating.
Oh, of course.
But better to find it out at home
Then
where you can fix it than obviously here.
Yeah. Trying to fix something as you're putting on the display table was just fraught with danger. Because you're going to rush it, stuff it up, or,
We don't have the luxury as we had at the Nats with the Triple P guys had
Yes,
their table when
yes.
people just any damage they had to their kits they could just rock up and
Yep.
there's all those other branded paints that I can't mention was on the table
Yep,
and
yep.
it was great. So
I definitely used them.
I didn't.
I can't think of somebody who didn't go to the Triple P's. They should have almost called it the Model Hospital.
Yeah.
Or have a name like that, a cool
Yep.
name like that.
Yeah.
Triage.
It's a fantastic way, as a PR piece to do that,
Yep.
and have all the stuff there, and it's a great way to sell the products and to garner a bit of extra PR for whatever organisation you represent. You want to do it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
because you could do it at Expo,
Yeah.
and actually interview people.
As they're fixing their kit,
Yeah,
just
look,
to put them
mate,
under,
get
just
the
to put them
microphone-
under a bit more
Get
pressure.
the microphone out of my way. What are you trying to fix this aerial? Leave me alone.
That's a great idea. It's evil and I like it.
Yeah, I might think about doing that next year. Yeah.
So what do you think of this? Dunk, hit him in the head with the microphone. Leave me alone.
So tell me now, Sam, exactly what are you doing right now? What's your technique for repairing that?
Have you
Shut
ever?
up! Get away from me! Leave me alone!
It's all right. How long does it take to digest a microphone? Because you're about to find out.
So,
Very stressful.
but on another note, yesterday
Oh yeah, yesterday.
we went to Traylor.
Friday.
We went to. Oh yeah, we did too. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, do you want to explain to listeners what that is?
Well, Traylor is the Australian War Memorial's I presume,
Storage.
storage facility.
Storage and restoration
Yep.
and technology wing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they've got like 60,000 objects on display at any one time.
22,000.
On display in the museum at any one time.
Yeah.
Is it 22?
22,000.
But then they've got like 600,000.
700,000.
Correct me some more.
Sorry, I was
It's a
paying,
rarity. Usually it's us correcting Dave.
I was paying attention to the
really?
dude who was taking us around.
I should have paid more attention. He was effing terrifying.
I think I summed it up the best. He was like a school teacher that just had enough of his
He'd had
students.
enough.
So the guy who actually showed us around is an archaeologist,
Yep.
and he works for the Australian War Memorial
And his specialty is paint.
and
artillery.
Yes.
So probably up front, the guided tour of this facility, these 3 enormous hangars, was organised by Scale Act and Pete Davis. So
correct.
thank you so much,
Yes.
Pete, for organising that. It was a very
100%.
limited tour. There was 10 of us on there.
Yep.
Sadly, the fella that was guiding the tour was the grumpiest man in all Christendom.
Correct.
Oh, man. It's hilarious to look back on it now, but at the time was like, just let us take a photo of the 262 in real, original colour. I don't care about, Monty's Caravans thing, just whatever,
And he was standing in front, so we couldn't take photos. He was standing right in front. It was so annoying.
Well, at one point he was arguing with one of the other people in the group, and I said, can you argue over there so I can take a photo of the
heard you say
262?
that. Yeah,
I don't think he appreciated it.
Arguing about meteors.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
man.
I would love to have taken more photos of that. The Messerschmitt 109.
Yeah. I do have more affinity.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So, it's, frustrating.
But it's just to see a 109 that has never been touched or restored.
Yep.
It's just been conserved.
Yeah, and look,
and it's a real Frankenstein too.
Yeah, the 262 is the same. Unfortunately, as I looked around the room, all those the shelving on the wall, there's the rear engine nacelles are up the top, and then the side centre sections are next shelf down, and then there's the bomb racks, and it was just all over the place, taken apart, and the wings were in there, up against the wall, and stuff. Again, beautifully preserved and probably catalogued so they know where every nut and bolt is.
Yep.
Just a shame that it's not on display.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in fact, they never showed us the 163. Remember we said, the 163 is in the restoration wing?
Yeah.
We never saw the 163.
We never went to the restoration wing, that's why.
He was jack of us by that stage.
I think so too.
Just to give the listeners a mental picture, so if you've seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, the end where they go and put the Ark away in this huge warehouse with boxes everywhere,
It's like
that's
that.
exactly what this is like, except there's a lot more palletisation involved as well.
And it's a lot more cooler stuff put away.
Yeah.
And as sort of, we're, I guess, into history and military history and Australian military history, that's our textile at work, and good job, fellas. Like,
100%.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And everything there has providence.
Yeah.
It's not like, here's a certain vehicle. No, there's a certain vehicle, but it has history.
Yeah. Well,
It did something.
I did find myself twitching a couple of times, and I know, he probably gets a million groups through who think they know better than he does.
Yeah.
But he's pointing stuff out, and my eyes twitching. I'm like, dude, that's not right. That's not right. I'm just biting my tongue the whole time.
Sometimes you've got to be diplomatic.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Not worth it.
And just because you're a professional doesn't mean you're right about
Correct.
everything.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, good on him. It was outside of his normal sort of job to go and do this, although he does it for altruistic reasons because he's hoping that people who come in will have some information he can
Of
glean.
course. Yeah, it's all networking for him.
Yeah,
probably.
exactly right, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
Because their biggest complaint is they don't have enough people.
Yeah.
who work for them,
Yeah. So I'm incredibly privileged to get an opportunity to go through.
Oh, definitely.
All jokes aside about how grouchy he was, it was pretty fantastic.
Oh, it was awesome. Absolute highlight. Absolute highlight.
So there's a $500 million spend happening at the War Memorial in Canberra, the actual museum.
Yep.
So all the good stuff like G for George, the Lancaster, and the 262 and 163 and 109, all that stuff's been pulled out of there. And there's a double-story wing going in. So
Correct.
That's going to be incredible. When that's finished, that'll be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
2026, I think it'll be finished.
Not too long then. Yeah.
Well, still 4 years away.
Yeah.
So it's quite a while.
Mind you, it's a big building. It'll take them a while to build.
Yeah, I'd have to rank the Australian War Memorials perhaps one, although I haven't been through the Imperial War Museum yet.
It's pretty good.
But it is, it ranks up there amongst the world stuff.
The Imperial War Museum is interesting because the one in London is amazing and they've got tons of amazing stuff. But then Imperial War Museum is also RAF Duxford. So that's considered an Imperial War Museum as well. So that's where all the aircraft are.
Yeah.
They've got a few aircraft at IWM in London, and listeners are bound to correct me, but then most of it's out at Duxford, and that's amazing. The hangers at Duxford are incredible. SR71 hanging from the ceiling, B52, just amazing stuff, and some British stuff.
Well, it's in because, all three of us been extensively through museums in the US, and the only problem with museums in the US is that they're spread right across the US. So
everywhere.
There's no way you can spend, in one trip sort of target all the museums where at least the Australian War Memorial's bang sort of in one plot spot, and you can sort of, see just about everything.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday, some of the other guys that were in the group were talking about, there's one in Newcastle that's a good one. There's a Hornet there, a full Hornet that you can get a lot closer to than the Hornet that we got just to yesterday.
Yeah, don't get too close, you'll get your hand smacked.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, it was certainly a good day. It certainly was. Yeah. So they're telling us there's about 500 plus kits out in the competition.
Fantastic.
And they've got another section which is a commemorate or a celebration of the RAAF's 100th anniversary, which was last year.
No, year before.
2021. 2021.
Okay.
And because of COVID, obviously they couldn't put the show on, so they've put the display on this time.
Excellent.
And the club members have put together over 300 aircraft that have been in RAAF service out there on display.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
And they look fantastic. I don't think there's a bad build in amongst them.
No. Absolutely gorgeous display. And, hats off to the club who've done such a sensational job in both that and also putting on this fantastic show here. And it's been really well run and easy to sort of do.
Yeah.
Entry was online, so all entries are online. And entries closed on the Thursday night, midnight.
Yep.
You didn't have to submit instructions or
references or anything
at all.
Yeah.
So
that will be, I've got scar tissue about references. Because not bad in a bad way. I modify everything so much.
Yeah.
There's so extensive changes that I make, and I model to a photo usually.
Yep.
So I want to be able to include the photo to say this is why I did it.
Yeah.
So, but I trust in the system. It'll be fine. Whatever happens, happens. Ultimately, we're not playing for sheep stations.
No,
not
at all.
No.
And look, this year is a transition year as well for the club and the judging system. So previously were gold, silver, bronze, and this is a transition year, and they're moving into the open system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're moving away from gold, silver, bronze.
Moving away from gold, silver, bronze. Yeah.
Oh,
so
interesting.
So this year, I believe they're awarding a first in each category, and then highly commendeds after that. So again, I think it's just a bit of a sort of a step transition into the open system. So
I understand.
Well, that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
We're going to get the president on later on in the show, so we'll be able to talk through.
What I'm keen to hear, and I can probably find out any time, is their messaging to their members and to the public who enter. Because that'd be great to take to the expo guys in Melbourne and whack them gently and politely over the head with it and to say, well, here's the messaging that worked and here's the system that works, and so let's step out of 1974.
Yes.
Are you listening? and let's give it a try.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
No, fully agree.
So, you've slashed something down on the table there, so I've got to address it. So,
It's my phone.
Are you saying that you prefer open rather than gold, silver, bronze?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, 100%, 1,000,000% yes. Because the standard of models that we get these days are so high,
Yes.
it doesn't seem fair that one person gets a first. It seems more fair to me and more inclusive.
My apologies. I get exactly where you're coming from, and I'm on the same table as you.
Yeah.
When I say gold, silver, bronze, I mean as in the amp style, not 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, sorry, right. Sorry. No, I'm definitely a gold, silver, bronze guy.
Same here,
So
yeah.
because more than one model deserves an accolade.
I agree.
And it's a bit of like you got to pull the Band-Aid off.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some categories that no model gets a gold, and they only award a silver, or some silvers and some bronzes.
Yep.
And that's a bit of a tough pill to swallow, but it's a sign of a mature competition. I think that you can say, well, look, here's the standard that we're holding these models to. We're not going to give away golds willy-nilly, and here's proof of that. This category, whilst the models were fantastic, we didn't feel they were up to gold standard, so there were only silvers awarded, or 3 bronzes, or 5 golds.
Yep.
And then if there's that worry about oh, but we're giving away too many golds, so make a platinum and give one out or two out.
Yep.
That's what Scale Model Challenge in Holland do.
Yep.
So there's platinum awards as well, which are the real. They're not best of show, but they're somewhere between best of show and gold.
Yeah.
So it does feel, maybe that looks a little bit like sort of mission creep. It's sort of it's moving the goalpost a little bit, but it works.
Oh, 100%.
And it's great. It's inclusive. And I know I sound like I'm on a rant, but it's inclusive, and that's what you want to get.
No, I wouldn't say you're on a rant at all. I would say that your thoughts are representative of what the majority of modelers want to see moving forward. I think it's just the gatekeepers, perhaps, who are, or those who are unwilling to sort of face change, or are afraid that the change that we're asking to bring in is going to drop the level of competition that is preventing it from sort of being brought forward at a quicker pace than what it is.
Yeah, and look, going to them on an expo weekend is not the time to do it.
No. Fully agree.
So what it will take, I believe, is maybe someone doing, and I'll put my business nerd hat on, some cost analysis on this is what it's going to cost in the first year. And so, for example, your trophies might be $3,000 a year currently for all the first, second, thirds, right? So in year one, you buy 500 golds, 2,000 silvers, and 3,000 bronzes, right? And you don't date them. They're just Model Expo gold.
Correct, yep.
Model Expo silver, Model Expo bronze. And so in year one, your outlay might be 15 grand, right? Oh my God, that's a huge expense. Year two, your trophy outlay is zero.
Yep.
Year three, your trophy outlay is zero.
Yep.
Year four, you might need to top up on silver and bronzes.
Yep.
And so all of a sudden you've caught up, and it's hugely fair.
Yep. Well, I'll take it one step further, because I've been thinking about this a bit also. And rather than the trophy, why not go to what some clubs do or some competitions do and have a coin, gold, silver, and bronze?
They're not trophies. They're coins.
Even cheaper, because to have 400 coins made is only costing you about $800, $500, and a lot of that cost is getting the die set up.
Of course.
And once you've got it set up, and then bang, bang.
So Scale Model Challenge, I got a bronze in 2018.
Yeah.
That's my crowning glory. It's world stage, best competition in the world, and I got a bronze, and I punch in the air and high five myself.
I would too.
It's unbelievable, against the best competition in the world. I was so happy with that. And it comes in a felt box, and that's not expensive necessarily.
No.
It's fantastic. And then, the trophy from last year at earlier this year at the Nats is great as well. Yeah. But they could just as easily go to coins,
Yeah.
So there's options out there.
Yep.
Definitely.
But browbeating them is not going to change.
Oh, geez. Okay, rant mode off now.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, not at all.
That's all right.
Great discussion. Great discussion.
But it may be that that there's a survey filled out. There's all the entrants that they've got, because they harvest again, put my data scientist hat on. They harvest the email of every entrant every year, so they've got a collection of email addresses. They could send a survey out. Here's the messaging. Here's our intent, and this is the outcome we want to get out of it. And this is what it's going to cost us, and this is a step plan to do it. And then you have people fill in a survey.
Well, here's the other issue too: is in Australia we don't have an effective national body.
No.
And that's the other thing. So everybody's often doing willy-nilly their own thing. Some people doing some really great stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no way to sort of disseminate that great stuff that's being done around the rest of the country.
But Expo have the data to contact their entrants.
Yes, that's right.
So they can do
email addresses.
But Expo isn't Australia modelling per se.
No.
Yeah.
So, but the people who enter the Expo are going to be the ones who'll have and want to say on it.
Yes. Oh, of course we do.
Contact them.
100%.
Contact them and say, what do you think? This is, obviously that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yes.
Which is a shame. But anyway.
I totally agree.
It doesn't take away from the fact that, what's happening this weekend is a transitional thing, and it's going to be fantastic to see how well it works.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And hats off to the Canberra boys for going ahead and doing it.
Yeah,
taking the step.
Yeah, Pete's really driving an agenda of change and modernisation with the club and with the competition, and it shows. 500 plus models on the table.
And we've got to. And what's surprised me is that the Gundams on the table. Yeah. There is quite a large
Yep.
as a percentage base of the model thing here.
Always has been a thing for the Canberra shows.
Well, you kind of get it with Canberra because they're all public servants, weenies who work here. You watch the ratings go down after that comes out.
Downloads in Canberra, 0.
I can say that because I'm a public servant myself. but yeah, the number of Gundams. And this is where us modelers, because we're all aging now, I'm starting to hit the 60 sort of age. And
Jeez.
I'm mid-50s.
you're mid-50s and Sam's 22.
50 in January. 50 in January. Oh, shh.
So we've got to start bringing those modelers in.
And that's
Because they're the future for the whole thing.
And I think that the messaging around gold, silver, bronze can be used to drive that inclusion with the younger guys.
Yep.
It's a great opportunity to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, really great opportunity to do it. So, yeah, I reckon, hats off to them.
100%. All right, I think we might have to have a quick break there and we'll hear from one of our sponsors and we'll be back shortly. See you soon. The Scale Model Supply. Certified Australian made, the Scale Model Supply has a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeler. Designed to use straight from the bottle, SMS paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake, pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. But wait, there's more. SMS have just released the new water-based range, Infinite Colour. It is the ideal paint for anyone who is into miniature painting. And with 48 colours that can be mixed to create any colour you want, the possibilities are, well, infinite. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, train, car, science fiction, or even Gunpla. SMS paints will have a colour to suit you. Available now through selected stockists worldwide and online at www.scalemodeler.com.au. And sitting with us now, we have the president of ACT SMS, Australian Capital Territory Scale Model Society.
Correct, yep.
Peter Davis.
Welcome to us, thank you.
Thanks for
Welcome to the
having us.
show. Yeah.
No worries.
Well, I've got to say, Ian and I have been to a number of shows and we are deeply impressed as to how well run and smoothly this thing is going.
Yeah, excellent, thanks so much. It's, a fair few hard hours been going into it. Obviously, we haven't had a decent shakeout for a good couple of years, like everyone else with COVID. But, I think it's pleasing to see that, those hours of hard work over the last few months is all pulling together today. So.
No, 100%. So before we talk a bit more about the actual show, we've got an international audience. It's time for you to sort of tell the world how fantastic ACT SMS is. So tell everybody about the club.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I've been a member for 20 plus years now. I started as a junior. Back when I was little. Went off to army, lived adult life for a bit. Come back to Canberra 2012, joined back up. It's been around for a while now, and as junior, worked my way up and president, vice president before that. It's a really good club. We got about 130 financial members. So
wow,
probably
that's
impressive.
huge. So definitely the largest in Australia. Probably I reckon we're probably one of the larger ones around the world as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously if you combine all the IPMS into one, then they'll beat us. But individually, I think individually, not too bad. I think we've got a good raft. We've got a few female models in the club now, number of juniors, and a raft of different people from different backgrounds and stuff, which I think makes at a community as well, I guess. So it's such a good, friendly bunch of people. So.
Yeah, 100%.
And you guys have been celebrating your 50 years.
Yeah, it's 50 exactly. Kicked off in about 1972. It's our 50th anniversary this year. Formally 1972. 50 years. We've had a number of events on this year to celebrate that. We had a formal dinner where we awarded some long service awards to people. Inducted a few more life members. We've got I think 5 life members now that are, that are part of the society still. Scalac, we've got a bit of our history to stuff on display. We had, I guess at the start of the year we set up a subcommittee for the 50th anniversary. the reporting back to the main committee, and they organised a number of things at dinner, merchandise. Wearing new shirts this weekend, 50th anniversary club shirts. The club history, they'd done a club history book, which in that book, which is a PDF on our website, you can see the full club history of the last 50 years. So
that's really impressive.
A nice touch, I think.
Definitely agree.
100%.
Yeah.
So the show, and as I said, it's fantastic turnout. How many kits do we have on display today, do you think?
So we've got about 500 models in the competition.
Yep.
123 entrants from all over Australia. I know we've got some down from Queensland, Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Newcastle. So a very good stretch of people who've made the travel to come here, especially with the current flooding and stuff. They've done it's very good, very good effort to get here. 8 juniors have entered, which is good to see. We've actually got a category here called Achievements Unlocked, which are for people that have never entered a model competition before.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so to try and encourage those people, maybe a little bit nervous putting their stuff out on display, all that sort of stuff. So, and that's been building over the last sort of couple of shows, and we've had a really good turnout with 27 in that category for this weekend. So it's good to see that encouragement, of newer models and stuff, and getting them more involved in something like this.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's just a competition. We've got a couple of smaller displays. We've got a Australian Flying Caller display out in the main hall as well. I think there's about 10 models in that. And then we've got the RAF 100 display, which...
that's just amazing.
That's huge. So there's 310 models. We've got one of every single aircraft flown by the Royal Australian Air Force on display. So from your A series right through, from one series, all your A series, 1, 2, 3, one aircraft of each flown by the Royal Australian Air Force. And I'd be pressed to see anything like that again, I think.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. And they're all fantastic builds too.
Yeah.
And that's been a big effort. There's been a small subcommittee working on that. They were working towards the end of last year with COVID, kind of put it off because of so much hard work that went into it. We pushed it to this year so they could still have their put their display on because of all the hard work that's gone into that. So that's it's turned out really well. There's been a lot of positive feedback about that. So.
And the entrance, the way you enter into the competition is so seamless as well.
Yes,
all 100% online.
Yep.
And you don't have to worry about bringing any brag books or instructions or anything like that.
It's all purely on the modelling, your modelling ability and merit. So Yep. So it makes it a little bit more streamlined, especially now that the show's growing, there's more models involved. I think we're all volunteers. You want to make it as easy as possible on volunteers, so we can encourage more people to help as well. So.
Yep,
exactly.
Yeah. So this is going to be the last time the show's at this location?
Yes, correct. So we're currently at a high school in Canberra, Caroline High School. They've been fantastic. They've been really good for the last few years. But essentially, we've pretty much outgrown this facility. We've got limited parking here, and constraints and stuff around using a school. So we're moving to Thoroughbred Park next year, which is the race course in Canberra.
Yep.
That venue will give us 1,500 car spaces. It'll allow us all to be in the one exhibition space. So we'll have all our traders, all the competition, swap and sell, everything will allow us all to be in the one area. So it'll be a lot more and expand. So we'll have more room. To invite more traders next year, and more club displays and all that sort of stuff as we push into that new venue. There's 2 food outlets on site, which are quite reasonably priced. ATMs on site. It's going to be a much better upgrade and venue next year. Yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
The good thing about Canberra, it's so central to a lot of the other states.
Yes.
So Ian and I, it's only a 7-hour drive. Including cigarette stops and hamburger stops, probably 8.5 hours.
You don't get lost at the whole book bakery on the way up.
And as we get older, toilet stops as well. Sydney, it's only a 4-hour drive from Sydney itself.
Yeah, even shorter for the western suburbs.
The south coast of New South Wales, it's a short drive.
Yeah.
South Australia is not that much further, really. Probably is a little bit, but Queensland is not too bad. So,
Newcastle, there's a few guys I think down from Newcastle this weekend too. So, and unfortunately there was no Sydney show this year. So, it's not far. A lot of these guys have come down from Sydney as well to
So at least they got something to
exactly. They got
yeah.
something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. It's capital city and not to see anything. But we're happy. More than welcoming, more than happy. That's we strive to be friendly and welcoming and catering for all our guests and stuff to make it a good weekend for everyone. So.
Well, you've certainly
Totally
done it
agree.
with us this weekend. I mean, you've made us feel more than welcome, and we got us into the Trelaw yesterday.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
that
which
was
is awesome.
bonus.
Yeah.
We've got the banquet to look forward to tonight, the Chinese
Yes.
banquet, so that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we've got club dinner on tonight. Yeah, exactly. Trying to put stuff on. So there's people that are visiting. They've got things to do. Like I said, feel welcome. You're not wandering around at night, wondering what you're going to do for the night for tea and stuff. So. The Trelaw thing, is just an example of what's in Canberra, I guess. So if you haven't been to Canberra, there's no guarantee we can get everyone in, but we're hoping to have a bigger group through next year when we move to the new facility, which is literally just going to be a kilometre down the road from where you went on Friday.
Okay.
Otherwise that the war memorials here, we've got plenty here to do. Australian National New Museum's here. Questacon for the kids if you want to bring the kids on the weekend.
Dinosaur Museum.
Dinosaur Museum. National Dinosaur. There's heaps. Everyone thinks Canberra full of politicians. Yes, it is, unfortunately, but that's not our choice. They've been here for a while, but there's plenty. There's a lot of national
lots to
museums,
do,
art galleries. There's plenty here to do on a weekend if. You want to come down and enjoy the show and bring the family and stuff.
Yeah, you can enjoy the show and fling the family off somewhere else.
Exactly, plenty on. Yeah, so.
Very underrated city, Canberra.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not being biased because I live here, but I think it's definitely there's plenty to do if you have a bit of a kick around. So.
Now, the other thing I need to touch on is that, and Sam and I were having a discussion about it earlier on in the show, is your transition from first, second, third to a new, different way of...
a lot of competitions, I think, around the world have moved away from first, second and third as well, and that's kind of the new standard is to try and recognise more hard work, I think. So you got, it's... a lot of the time you probably come up with the first fairly easy, but the second and third, we were spending a lot of time, pulling our hair out over second and third, and we thought, well, this overseas system, which is, they do gold, silver, bronze.
Correct.
They recognise a lot more, which is a good, good plan sort of thing. I just don't think, it's a transition process. We might get there one day, but this year we've kind of got a hybrid system between the old and the new. So we've gone. Recognising first place still, we've got new gold coin medallions for first, and then we moved to highly commended. So some categories, there's quite a lot of good models in those categories. So you might see on Sunday that obviously a gold coin will get awarded for first, but we might see 3, 4, 5 highly commendeds given out. They're not going to be handed away from all these. I think if you get one of those, you should be quite happy because you're in contention for first.
Yes.
So you've done a reasonable effort still. And then some of those other categories, that are a bit smaller and stuff, we might not see any highly commended because we want that highly commended is a standard.
Yes.
It's not just a like a commended certificate like you used to get for turning up for the show essentially.
For fourth, fifth, and sixth. Yeah.
And I think we've done that in February. So this is actually our second event this year. So in February,
That's Two events in 1 year.
So the reason being because of COVID, everyone 2 years no show, everyone's sitting at home, building, which they have been. So we were concerned that we had a new IT system we wanted to shake out, new judging system with these awards, and also concerned about how many models we're going to get in November for this weekend where we're at now. And we didn't want to be swamped and overwhelmed. Again, we're a limited volunteer force. So we ran February. We got 380 odd models in February, which was quite good considering we didn't really push it. It was more just it's on sort of thing. We didn't push the PR that hard. And it's worked in our favour because if we didn't do that, we probably would have had around 900, and I think that would have been a bit overwhelming to try and get through on Saturday and Sunday. So, so that went well. We tried those new systems, new award process, everything. There was a lot of positive feedback from people that attended that event. So we're giving it a run at a big event, and I think that's also we get a lot of feedback, positive feedback too, because at the end of the weekend, we get everyone's feedback forms, and we actually read those feedback forms and we try and be better and implement change and push to be better every year. So on top of being friendly and welcoming as well. So I think that's good as well. So.
Oh yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
Well, on behalf of Ian and I, can you please pass on to your members our thanks
Yeah.
because it's been
Yes,
really
yeah.
well run. Everybody's been so friendly to us.
Yep.
And
And thanks for helping empty my bank account.
There's plenty. I think there's plenty of kids going home. There's
yeah.
plenty of people walking past now with piles of stuff. I'm sure they're probably going to get kicked out of home tonight for. But
So we're lucky we didn't take Julian.
you wouldn't have the car space to get him home. You would have to have a hitchhike. But yeah.
well, it's funny. I'm sitting here and I thought
Yeah.
I'd exhausted everything I could possibly buy, but I can see
Yeah, you
I
still
can see
iron
a
stuff
voodoo
off,
sitting
exactly.
over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a kiddie hawk too. You won't get that ever.
I know.
I think before we wrap up, with everyone that's entered this weekend, SMS has given them a bottle of paint, which is
Yep.
nice. Toy World Canberra, which is absolutely, that's a family-run business in Canberra. So they're not a massive importer or a massive, sort of chain store or something
Yep.
like that. While there's other toy wars around, they're independently owned. They're all
independently owned,
independent,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So they're not a massive franchise. But they're just a Canberra business, and month in, month out, monthly awards. He happily coughs them up. Pete from Toy World and his staff. $500 to help us out this weekend.
Oh,
Wow.
wow, that's good.
So yeah, Pete. Anyone that's visiting Canberra and wants to have a look at it, he's got a good, decent hobby section now at the store in Fishwick. So if anyone's visiting Canberra every other weekend, definitely pop out and see Pete in Fishwick if you're looking for a kit.
Definitely,
Or want to have a sniff for some plastic. And also this weekend, every entrant got a 15% off for the shop again. So another thing to help us out and to help everyone out that's visiting to potentially go home with something they shouldn't as well. We're plenty of other supporters here this weekend too. I think Outlaw Paints has given us a lucky door prize of about $2,000 worth of
Yeah, I think
paint.
it's 2.5, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's
$2,500 paint,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
That's
of them.
huge.
Star, other traders have turned up, which I guess we should say thanks to as well. Star Hobbies, Caribou Models, Spec Models, Canberra Hobby Centre, Platypus Publications, Firestorm, Scale Model Supply, Model Nerds, Ronin Games, Burfoot Tools, Hawkeye Models, Outlaw Paints, Full Ball Models, Runway 13, and Model Art. So I just want to give those guys a recognition and stuff
Yep,
for
definitely.
helping us support our event while we're all here. And obviously, you guys coming up and giving us the opportunity to chat on your podcast and stuff. It's been fantastic to have you guys here.
Well,
as
it's funny because I've come across two people so far this weekend who said it's because of listening to us that motivated them to come to the show.
Oh,
because,
excellent. So,
so it's good to see that
Yeah.
Ian and I are actually got a positive influence on,
For a
on our
change.
hobby.
For a change.
No, that's excellent. I think, especially, any way to get the hobby out there is definitely going to be beneficial. Like, there's plenty of people out there, I'm sure, that people and aren't part of a club or build and have no idea the show's on.
That's
So,
right, yeah.
Exactly right.
The
And
only way we're going to reach them, I think, is by doing stuff like what you guys are doing and
Yeah.
looking at social media and stuff.
Yeah.
yeah,
And they're not going
100%.
to know about it till they hear about it.
Exactly. So, yep.
So we're all in it.
We're all in it. Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Pete, I know you're
Excellent.
busy. You've still got a show to run.
Yes,
Thanks very
excellent.
much
Thanks
for
so
dropping
much.
past.
Yep.
And we'll catch up and have some Chinese food tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
will.
And maybe
Looking
a
forward
cold,
to it.
a cold drink.
Sounds like a plan,
See
mate.
you later.
So,
Thank you.
okay.
Bye.
And on the show now we have Dave Higgins.
Peter.
Peter Higgins.
David's my twin brother. And he's a scale modeler too. He does all those funny little resin things.
Oh, there you go.
Beg your pardon. Peter Higgins.
Yep.
Yes.
Not to be confused with the jockey, the famous jockey.
Yeah,
No,
no
that
relation.
is Roy Higgins.
Roy
Sorry.
Higgins, yeah, no,
Jeez,
no
you're on
relation.
fire today, Dave.
I am. Anyway, Peter's joining us because he is one of those rare breed of people who build wooden ships. And we are out there admiring his HMS Endeavour.
Yes, wooden ships is very new to me. I used to be model railways for
Oh, okay.
30 odd years and built over 200 locomotives for other people.
Yep.
Got sick of it because I wasn't building anything for myself. And of course, having a 54 square metre shed in my backyard in Western Australia was good. I had plenty of room to move, and then we moved over here to Canberra and downsized to a 3-bedroom apartment.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And there's not much room for a
Huge.
model railway, so
Huge
basically
difference.
everything was sold, but I got a bit bored.
Yeah.
So I had attempted a ship many years ago and threw it out because I couldn't bend planks. This time I said, no, I'll give it a go. I want to give it another go. So I went to a local company here in Australia, got my Australian kit of Port Jackson, and put it together. And I was amazed at how relatively easy it was. It didn't take me too long. And I thought, no, I think I might do a bit more. So Endeavour was my second ship. realised I loved working with wood. I mean, wood it's just such a lovely material to work with. All the different types of wood that actually come in the kits, and then of course there's all the background behind the ship as well. Understanding the kit manufacturers don't get it right, so you need to do some research. You need to understand the shape of the ship. You need to understand the rigging of the ship. You need to understand the purpose of the ship too, because that also affects how things go together. And then I learned a lot more. Having, my background is Navy, but it's engineering. So I, didn't know much about masts and spars and ropes. And I learned a lot because, you've got to tie everything with clove hitches or bow lines and things like that. So it's become a lot of fun. The scale rigging that I use, I'm actually going to be making myself now. I've actually got a rope making machine, miniature rope making machine.
Jeez, I'm impressed.
Because, when you're using 0.3 mil diameter rope,
yes,
it's important that it's a right-hand rope, not a left-hand rope too. So
accuracy is everything.
Accuracy is everything these days. So, they've even got guys most of it is in Canada and the US, but they're actually CNC producing blocks.
Wow.
Down to 2 millimeters.
Seriously?
So they actually look like a real wooden, and they are wooden block. And it's incredible. You can actually get that wonderful detail that you want in a model if you wish. And that's not expensive either these days too, because most manufacturers coming out of either Russia or China in the model market. And they're doing things for a very good price. The only thing you do have to watch out a little bit, though, is the copyright issues. And in some kits, especially in the wooden shipbuilding market or kit building market, there's unfortunately a little bit too much of stealing of designs and things where companies will actually take a kit and then reproduce it under their own name, copying everything, just changing the language.
Wow.
So
dirty pool.
It is. But no, the kits on the mainstream market, they're excellent kits. They use excellent timbers.
So what brands would you recommend?
Okay, the basic brand, Artesania Latina, that's a Spanish company. They have moved their production to China. As they said in their media release, they're doing it because they want to make money. As you can understand, it's not a huge industry, certainly not in Australia, but it's a big industry in the US and in Europe. The Artesania Latina is probably at the lower end of the quality market. You move up to the likes of Amati, which is Italian. And then you go all the way up through Caldercraft, which is UK, Vanguard, which is probably right up there at the pinnacle, where they just use timber. They don't use any plywood in their kits.
Oh, wow.
Because obviously the use of plywood is a lot easier, better laser cutting and the like, but unfortunately doesn't look good when you're looking at it side on.
Yes, I understand,
So generally speaking, what are the average scales that you sort of work with?
Most of the scales you're working with are the probably 132, which is the smaller vessels. They're normally the boats that are used, because funnily enough, a lot of the boats that ships carried were sailing ships in their own right.
Yes,
that's right.
Skiffs and the like. So you'll find a lot of those support vessels that a ship would sail on in the smaller scales. 148 is definitely one of the mainstream scales, as is 164. 148 is probably for the schooners, as well as 164. When you're getting into the big ships, the big 74 guns and 100 gun type ships, wherever they came from, whether it's the Royal Navy or it's Spanish or it's French or it's Swedish, they're more in the 196 scale, because they were big ships. I mean, if you think of Victory, she was well over 1,000 tons. She was a big ship. And even a 196 scale model is almost a metre long. I'm building HMS Thunderer, which is from a kit from a Chinese company. It's a 74 gun. It's 1,200 millimetres long just for the ship, without even looking at the rigging, and the bowsprit. So she's 148, and she's a big ship. So they're the main scales that you get. but you've got to be conscious, obviously, of the size of the vessel
Yes.
you're going to
Yeah.
be building as well.
Yeah.
So you can get most things in most scales, but just think about the size, because it's not complex, it's just physically large.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned before all the different woods. It's not just one wood that's generally comes with a kit, is it? It's a whole range.
No,
of
there's a
different
whole
woods.
range of kits. I mean, they're called exotics here in Australia because we don't have. I mean, we have gums and we have gums and eucalypts and the likes. The kits generally come with the exotics like lime wood, pear, apple. These are all, as in the fruit trees.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they produce beautiful wood, very fine grain, which is what you need in a model.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you use your heavier timbers like walnut and like the grain is so large, that it's
It's just going to look
physically-
out of scale.
Yeah, they are physically out of scale. So they do produce. They are lovely timbers. They don't necessarily look right unstained. So it's possible that you may need to, because limewood is a very pale timber.
Yeah.
Pear and apple vary depending on which of those. They can go from a red colour to a brown colour, or in the case of pear, you can even get a very cream colour out of it as well. But then there's cherry. So all of the fruit trees produce wonderful timbers for models. But then in Australia, hue and pine. That's probably the
Oh, really?
one of the
Yeah.
best ones you can get, because hue and pine has a very fine grain, very straight grain, and that's what I'm going to be planking my Thunderer with.
Expensive wood.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably talking about $100 to get enough material to plank a 148 scale ship.
Whoa.
So it's,
Yeah.
and you have to cut the timber yourself. You've actually got to mill it down yourself because they don't produce the planks.
No, they wouldn't, not in that size.
No.
So that means you must have a whole range of very interesting craftsman tools.
Well, you do. I mean, everything's in miniature. I have a mini mill, which it would only take up to 6 mil diameter tools, turning tools. I have a mini precision drill, which I made myself. All it is a 12-volt motor with a mini chuck on the end of it on a linear bearing. I have a mini lathe, which is only, can turn something that's only 500 millimetres long. That's for your masts and yards and spars. Rope making machine, as I said, there's a lot of little things. Even the cross-cut saw. I've actually got a table saw, but it's a 100 mil blade, with 40 teeth.
Oh.
And so these are small devices, small precision devices. But the smaller you get, the more precise you need to be. So they're not overly expensive. They're fairly widely available on the AliExpress and eBay markets. Just got to be cautious with what you buy. That's all.
Yeah, as with everything.
Yes.
Because they're such large models, displaying them when you're finished.
Oh, my wife hates me. I mean, she said, yes, you can do this hobby as long as you sell the ships afterwards, because we've
Right.
got nowhere to store them. So
Oh, yeah.
I haven't had any luck selling them yet.
Oh, that's a shame, isn't it?
Won some prizes, but I haven't been able to sell them yet. So when it comes to the first three, I've got a shelf they'll fit on. When it gets to the fourth one, I don't know
You're
what
in
I'm
trouble.
going to do. It is just, it's a museum-sized model. So yes, we'll have to get there, have a look at it when it gets there.
Well, I'd imagine with all that rigging, because it's proper material rigging, that must be a nightmare for dust and everything.
It is. I blow off the models quite regularly. Get a blower, a gentle blower. Not to blow everything too much, but blowing off the dust. There's a lot of sawdust gets around inside.
I could imagine, yeah.
I do have my own mini exhaust or vacuum ducting system in the workroom to keep dust down to a minimum. But sawdust is a huge problem. I haven't got around to doing display cases yet. I dare say for the big ship, it will definitely have a display case. It's going to have to go around it. But dust. It's an awful problem on rigging.
Even on plastic kits, because the get the static in the plastic and it attracts the dust. And,
Most of the rigging these days tends to be a polyester.
right.
So because the last thing you want is fluffy rigging.
Correct.
which you get with cotton.
Yep.
Didn't you used to get wax though and wax
you do,
them?
yeah. People with beeswax, you
Yeah.
can, and people still do use beeswax. But with the onset of some of these modern materials, you're getting much better quality thread that you can actually use and turn into rope, because it comes as a much finer material to start with.
Yep.
So, funnily enough, once you've turned up the rope, you then got to bake it.
Oh, really?
Yes. You actually have to bake the polyester for about 5 or so minutes at about 120 degrees to actually get the twist out of it, if you like.
Oh.
So it sets in shape.
Geez, the things you learn on this
Yeah,
show.
that's amazing.
Yeah, things I've learned too. YouTube is a wonderful
it
thing.
is.
Says,
Yeah.
someone has done it. You can guarantee if you've got a problem, just Google it because
Yep.
someone solved it.
Yes.
Oh, no doubt. So somebody who's thinking of getting into it, I mean, for me, the thing that's always, it hasn't been the rigging that scares me, it's the planking that scares me.
Yes, and that's an interesting thing. That was what I failed at first. To me, I find rigging, yes, it's monotonous, but there's plenty of books out there that show you how to rig correctly in a model ship.
Yep.
I mean, there's no difference between rigging a model ship to rigging a real ship. It's exactly the same.
Just a little
It's
smaller.
just smaller, yeah. Okay, we don't splice. Well, having said that, I'm going to be practicing with some needles to splice 0.6 rope,
Wow.
but we'll see how that goes. People do it.
Wow.
There are modelers, fantastic modelers out there who already splice 0.6 mil rope.
Jeez.
So
I had
it
trouble.
can be
I
done.
had trouble splicing 1-to-1 scale when I used to be in the army, let alone doing it at that scale.
Yeah, but planking does scare people, but some of the materials are very forgiving, and it's just knowing the right technique depending on the material you're using. Heat bending, effectively, what you're trying to do is release the lignum that's in the which is holding all the fibres together in the timber.
Yep.
What you're trying to do is heat it so that releases and allows the fibres to stretch against each other. So heat is heat. It's heat.
Yep.
Steaming is a way of introducing heat into the plank to be able to loosen the lignum to actually be able to bend the plank. But you don't have to wet it. People do use soldering irons, for example, with just a little bit of moisture on the surface of the plank, and you just run it over a soldering iron. It's the heat that you get that releases the lignum. So there's multiple ways of doing it. You can also get a plank bender, which is just it crunches one side of the plank with little divots, which will form a curve. I don't like doing that because you are damaging the wood to start with.
I was thinking the same thing,
physically
yeah.
damaging the timber. So you can snap, get in one of those thin bits, you can break it off, and you don't really want to do that. But as long as you're patient, I mean, I just steam them. I bend them around a former, which is the same shape as the hull. So they're off the hull until they're dry. I put them on the hull, and it's just a matter of just clamping them and waiting for the glue to set. Or, as the modern people do these days, they use a little bit of CA glue super glue to be a temporary clamp, if you like, until the wood glue's dry.
So, for example, your the
Endeavour.
How many hours would you have spent?
Okay, I didn't. I had a build log which I maintained, but I didn't maintain hours. When I did my first ship, the hours for that, it was a 2-master schooner. It was about 150 hours all up to build that one. I would estimate, and that took 3 months.
Yep.
I would estimate, considering that Endeavour took me 6 months, it was probably more 350 hours to actually put her together. And that's not including the waiting times. That's the physical working on the actual vessel time. So if you actually take into account, there's also
the time to dry while you're waiting
glue
to dry. Yep.
But there's other things you can be doing while you're waiting for the glue to dry. You can be making your mast, you can be making your spars, you can be doing a whole host of things in the meantime. So it doesn't have to be all sequential.
But it's a shipbuilding is a part of the hobby that's made for those with the extra patience.
Patience is, and I never had patience. I never really was a patient guy, and I have a bit of ADHD. But it helps develop patience.
Yes.
I find, because there's something therapeutic in rigging. You know, there's no rush to actually creating the rigging. There's a lot of monotony.
Yep.
Because you're doing the same thing over and over again. And if it doesn't go right, you just cut that little bit of thread and start again.
Yeah.
Yep.
And once you've done one, if you don't want to, you can just leave it and do something else. So I did find, I mean, rat lines, everyone hates rat lines,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is, the
Yeah, the ones that-
horizontal lines on the
There's
shrouds.
a jig you can just make up for rat lines, isn't there?
Yeah, but you're supposed to do a clove hitch on each.
Right.
Each time you go around one of the shrouds, it's a clove hitch.
Yep.
All right.
Rat lines
Yep.
don't do that. So the jigs don't do that. They just lay it across and you just glue.
Glue, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's authenticity. You know,
Yes.
if you want to do a proper job, you do it
Properly.
So,
And because I build ships as well, but
Yep.
plastic. And I like doing destroyers, which means a lot of rigging as well. You start from the centre and you work out.
no.
No?
Rigging on a timber ship is completely different.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, rigging on a timber ship, it's all about stepping the masts. So that's actually
Yep.
fitting the mast into the ship and then having it tied down.
Right,
and
yep.
tensioned down into the mast
Yeah,
step.
so it's bedded in, yep.
So it's got to be bedded down. So hence the shrouds have to go up first.
Right.
And then, but not all the shrouds on one side and then the other. You have to do a pair on one side, a pair on the other, then the next pair on one, and then the next pair on the other.
Yep.
So there is a definite sequence of events that have to take place as you rig a ship. And rigging a ship is putting the masts up, putting the yards up, and eventually putting the sails up.
Yep. Ah, that's interesting.
So with sails, how do you get authenticity at that scale with the material that you're using?
It's always been a big debate, sails. There's one line that says sails ruin the look of a ship because it hides all the wonderful work you've done in creating your masts
Yeah.
and yards and rigging. The other side of it too is people say, well, you can't really get scale sails. And that's quite true. I mean, if you consider the amount of sewing that goes into creating a full-scale sail, doing that in model form is impossible. I mean, you're talking about, because I did this looking at it in 148, you're looking at a stitch. Each stitch is 0.7 millimetres long.
You wouldn't be able
You're not
to
going to do that.
No, not at all.
So there has to be some sort of
Compromise.
that you've got to accept that you just can't do it. And the same goes with the material thickness. Trying to get it. There are some materials out there, and there's some wonderful modelers, master modelers out there who do stitch, hand stitch as well as machine stitch their sails to be authentic. But again, if you look close, you know, from a distance they look fantastic. But if you look close, you know it's wonderful work, but it's way over scale compared with what it should be.
What it should be, yes.
So, yeah, it's the compromise you're willing to take on putting sails. I mean, a
You'd
lot of
think
people...
after a while someone might just, print them.
They do. Most kits print them.
Yeah. Because with a proper printer nowadays, with the colour range you can get, you're probably able to get something that will look darn close.
Are you talking 3D printing or just printing?
Just printing on
they do.
on material,
Silkspan is actually one of the products that a lot of people are using now for the smaller scales.
Yep.
It's already used in model aircraft. So the Silkspan actually works reasonably well. You draw on it to create the lines of the stitching on the sails. You can perforate it and put in your leeches. But the only thing you can't really do is run the ropes that reinforce the sails around all of the edges, all the corners.
Yep.
You can't really do that because the paper's just a little bit too fine.
Yeah.
Or the Silkspan, it's not really a paper. It's just that little bit too fine for that. So one of our members just did a ship in a bottle. and he used silk span, and it looks beautiful. You know, it really does on a ship of even
Yeah,
that small.
that's taken it to the next step, though, putting them in bottles.
Oh, well, that's a whole other thing. Yeah. But apparently every modeller has to do one.
Oh,
Has to
really?
do one, yeah.
Well, I must say that, Peter, you've broken the mould for me in regards to what I imagine a wooden shipbuilder looks like. I imagine waistcoat, smoking jacket, big bushy white mustache with a pipe. You look nothing like that.
Look, modelers are modelers. It doesn't matter whether you're modelling plastic or you're modelling wood or you're doing resin or whatever it is you're doing. I mean, it's like model railways. I love model railways because it wasn't just one thing. There was metalwork, there was woodwork, there was painting, airbrushing, and there's scenic work. You know,
Yes.
there's just so much that you know. If you got bored with one, you
As
can
well
just
as
move to the
electronics
other.
and stuff like
Yeah,
that as
with
well.
with that, yeah. So, and it's the same with any of these hobbies. There's a diverse range of activities that makes up every hobby.
Correct.
And the skill of hand is something that I think has been lost, and we need to start getting
Yep.
that back with,
Yep.
with the younger people getting into modelling.
Yep.
And it shows like this where you can show things off. I mean, just out at our desk, I mean, there's so many people go, oh, I could never do that. And I said,
Yes, you can.
Can you glue two pieces of wood together? Yeah. Well, can you glue another two pieces of wood together? Yeah. Can you glue those pairs together? Yes. Now you're making a model.
Yeah.
You know, it is one step at a time.
You've
So-
just got to convince yourself that you can do
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So-
and don't bite off more than you can chew to start with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's a good lead into the next
Yeah.
question then. So what would you recommend as a starting position for somebody who wants to dip their toe in the wooden ships?
Oh, it's relatively easy these days because most kit manufacturers actually grade their kits. They're all
Okay.
graded from beginner through to master, and start with a beginner's kit. And all of the kit manufacturers do it. They all have a beginner's kit. So that's the way to get in.
Yep.
Look at all the beginners' kits and just pick which one you like. You know, the one that appeals to you. It could be a single mast, it could be a double mast, it could be a ship's boat which has got a mast on it. It may even be a Viking ship, anything like that. Pick one that you think would be nice, just something that you can make and sit on your mantelpiece somewhere to say, I did that. And
And they look so good.
they do.
And they're such a conversation piece. Someone
Yep.
will come around and go, oh, wow. And you go, yeah, I built that.
Exactly. And if after building it you say, no, that's not for me, fine.
Yeah. At
Find
least
something
you can
else.
say you've done it.
But you've done it, yeah.
Well, I count myself as a fairly experienced modeller, and I'm looking at those cutaway wooden ships. They look easy and interesting.
They are. Now, if you're interested in just dipping a toe and you've got some skill already, yeah, a section model.
And it doesn't take up room either.
No. Well, it takes up vertical room.
Yes,
yeah,
true.
yeah. It takes up some vertical room, but no, a section model is a great way to start because
Yep.
there's no plank bending. It's all laser cut. It's just glue, fit together. There is some rigging to do, but you're only rigging one mast. You
Yep.
don't have any fore and aft stays, and a lot of the other rigging doesn't come there. It's mostly just shrouds. And rat lines, my favourite. But that's a great way to start, and it does produce a model that will actually get people talking.
Wonderful. Pete, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for
Yep.
spreading the word about wooden shipbuilding.
Yeah, it's
and
been great.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend here.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Keep it
Cheers.
up, guys.
Thank you.
Will do.
And we're back, and joining us now, we've got Simon Holdsworth.
G'day, how are we?
Been hanging out
Fantastic.
to get you on the show for so long. Got so much to talk to you about.
I know, well, life's been busy, hasn't it? You've been busy with floods and, you know, we've all been busy with something, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Getting back into life after COVID and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
So, the original reason why I wanted to get you on the show is because you have got this wonderful technique of painting black without using black. And I am astounded by it because black isn't really a colour anyway.
No.
It's a shade, technically.
Yeah.
And the way you've gone about it for your U2 that you've done, what was the other one you did in black? Was it a submarine?
No, I haven't done a sub. However, it's been a great learning experience because I've got the new 1:48 scale Revell SR71.
Oh, yes, that's right.
That's going to be an awesome canvas for that.
Yep.
And the other thing that I've got is I've got the special Hobby X15 in both 48 and 32nd scale.
I want one in 72nd scale.
Yeah. So 32nd and 48th. Sorry, I've got the X15s in.
Yep.
And once again, awesome canvas for that technique.
So tell me how you paint black without using black.
Well, it comes down to the fact that the base colour, which is actually a blue-black, in fact, the actual base coat is SMS blue-black.
Right.
They actually do a paint called blue-black. So the actual sort of base coat is that, heavily diluted. So it really comes down to the fact that is the meat in the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
So you've effectively got 3 layers to create this effect. You've got all of the marbling and the pre-shading in the undercoats.
Yep.
So I use basically
All right. Well, let's take it right back to the bare bones. So
Sure.
let's take. So first step is your undercoat, which is what?
So undercoat basically. Well, first up, primer was mixed surface of 1500 grey.
Yep.
Then what I did is I basically got the airbrush splatter tool out, and on went basically a really heavy modelled sort of coat of dark greys, some browns,
Yes.
and also some blues.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I basically went through and pre-shaded the main panel lines, and I did those in a dark grey.
Okay.
And then that gives me the canvas now to basically put on the SMS blue black.
Yep.
But the thing is that because you want a solid colour, but also too you don't want a completely solid colour. You want some opacity.
Yep. You want to bring out all the stuff you've done underneath.
Correct. So I actually thin that with Mr. Leveling Thinner probably about sort of 80-20. So
Yep, okay.
80 leveling thinner, 20 paint.
Wow.
And that just allows you basically to effectively sneak up on that opacity that
Yep.
you're happy with, where you've got the saturation of the colour, but you can also still see basically
Yep.
that work that you've done underneath.
I think Monet said the best painting is all about light.
Yeah, that's right. And to control that, you really want that paint to be really, really nice
Yeah.
and thin.
Yeah.
So that went on, and then when that was nice and dry, then it was starting with the oil work. So that was just basically some white and black Winsor & Newton mixed to make a bit of a grey.
Yep.
Yep.
And so I did different shades of grey, and also too just some plain really heavily diluted white as well, and just picking out selected panels to randomly sort of do in different sort of intensity of your top coat sort of oiling. And then after that it was time for the matte to go on top. And I wanted that to be sort of nice and silky, and just you don't want any texture sort of in that black because it'll just show.
Yep.
Oh, definitely, yeah, sure will,
Yeah. So that's why I say basically that top coat, the SMS blue black, that's the meat in a sandwich, because basically you're doing stuff at the base of that and also on the top of that to basically achieve the final finish. And I think that'll go well for the Blackbird and the 2 X15s that I've got.
Very cool.
Yep.
And you've been doing some judging today as well.
Yeah, got roped into well, actually, no, I volunteered. It's something, because the whole judging side of things is actually quite new for me. I did it for the first time a month ago over in Adelaide.
Okay.
And the really cool thing about that is that it actually has started to inspire me to build different genres of models that I would never have looked at before.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So,
I can see that.
Yeah, I'm, as you probably know, I'm an aero geek.
Yep.
I'm an aircraft guy. But now having sort of looked at, AFEs and tanks, that's actually kind of got me thinking. It's not a rabbit hole that I'm going to sink down to, basically, like what I have with my aeroplanes.
Famous last words.
Well, yeah, I know, right? But it has inspired me maybe to look at one. In fact, I called my stepdad back in Melbourne earlier because he actually did 2 tours of Vietnam in Royal Australian Infantry.
Yep.
Back in the late 60s. And I said to him, with this newfound sort of quiet love of, AFEs and tanks, I said, would you like it if I built for you maybe a 35th scale M113?
Yeah.
Because AFE Club have just recently brought out the Aussie version,
Correct,
the Vietnam version of the M113.
I've got 3 of them in my stash, and I bought one today.
So now you got 4.
Remember, they're not wants, they're needs.
Yes, I
Yes.
know.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself anyway. The cognitive dissonance is strong in this one.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, no, it's been really eye-opening. It's been great.
Cool.
And a really good bunch of guys running this event. You know, it seems to me to be very well organised. Everything's gone without a hitch, and everyone knows where everything's meant to be. So kudos to the guys here in Canberra.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
Done a great job, haven't they?
Pulling off a really great event.
Yeah, done a great
No,
job.
fully agree.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just thinking in the dark recesses of my mind, didn't you muck around with an Apollo capsule at one point?
Yeah, that was my experiments in using monotone chrome.
Yes.
Now that is sitting as a side project, still in the recesses of my modelling activity back in Melbourne. But I still have a 48 scale Dragon Apollo CSM.
Nice.
It's the Apollo 10 one.
Yep.
It's sitting to the point where, the Molotov chrome was airbrushed and took about 2 weeks to dry. And then I found that the only thing that you can actually coat on top of that as a protective layer is aquagloss. Anything else is just... look, I went down the rabbit hole of basically the amount of times I've actually used SMS paint stripper to basically strip that capsule basically back to nothing in the process of my experimentations has been breathtaking. Buy shares in SMS now just purely for the paint stripper because it's copped a flogging. But,
Well, it's funny because I've got exactly the same kit and I've done exactly the same except I haven't put the protective coat on it yet. So it's been sitting there for a while. So I've got to go back and have a look and see how it's held up.
That Molotov is really, really tricky to airbrush and get a consistent finish because what I found is that if you spray the desired surface even slightly off centre, that finish basically goes from being the desired chrome into more of a...
grey muck.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
So you've actually... This is the thing where spray discipline and technique is just more important than any other thing I've ever sprayed because basically it has to be constant pressure, constant movement. It's got to be spot on.
And it likes to be flooded. But the trick is, if you flood it too much, you get the drip coming off it. So
that's right. But the thing is if you flood it just right, what I have found with it is that as it dries, it actually shrinks down, and you'll sort of go through a spray session of looking at the panel lines of this thing, thinking
they're gone,
they're obliterated, and then you put it in a nice case to stop any dust getting from it. You come back in 2 days and you think, I can see that again.
Yeah.
So it's actually really quite temperamental like that, and but that particular project is dear to my heart. It's something that I want to do, because it was crewed by one of my favourite astronauts of all time, Gene Cernan.
Yes.
The other thing that makes that particular mission extra special to me is that at home, I've actually got a complete set of charts that were actually used in the planning process of Apollo 10 by NASA. So when I was 13, a good mate of my parents, a family friend, came to our party. He's American, used to work for NASA between the mid-60s and mid-70s.
Yep.
He knew that I was a space tragic and aero geek basically even back then, so he bought these charts to my birthday and said, I want you to have these.
Yep.
Wow.
Never sell them, never... I'll have to show you them in person sometime because they're fascinating. It's a set of about 8 different charts that sort of shows Earth orbital data and lunar orbital data and sort of like an overall schematic of the mission, basically looking top down. It's just awesome. So
Wow.
So for me, that particular Dragon model, the Apollo 10, is something that I'm really, it's close to my heart.
Yep.
And of course, you're a Century Series tragic as well.
Yes, judging by the T-shirt here that's got the celebration of the whole Century Series on it. So nothing's. I just love that whole retro sort of 60s, 50s and 60s. Like I look at like the F-106 and the F-102, and I look at those forward windscreens and basically how they sort of just form up into this
wedge.
sharp triangle. And I just think, that is just so, George Jetson.
Yes.
So cool retro.
Yeah.
I just love it. So
No, good on you.
I just love that side of things.
I've got a couple of F-104s. I bought a Voodoo today. And I'm like you. That's just the lines and everything on them, but. They were all flawed because they, they they thought missiles would be the be-all and end-all, but they were like, 30 years behind where they needed to be, really, with the technology.
Well, that's
And Vietnam came along and bit them on the bum.
yeah, big time. It's funny how much more important air gunnery came after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, were there any of those Century Series jets that actually had like a bolt-on cannon of any sort at any time?
I think there might have been, but I can't tell you which one off the top of my head.
No, yeah, I've just got a funny sort of recollection of at least one of them having the option of like a bolt-on, sort of like a 20 mil cannon. But I mean nothing A10 like, but yeah.
At least it was something.
But beautiful
That's
aircraft, and the beauty about the Century Series is you can do it in those wonderful Air National Guard colours.
Yeah.
And you've also got the choice of doing the Vietnam or Southeast Asia camouflage stuff, and it's just awesome.
And then later on also too, you've got some of those really, really colourful Air National Guard schemes.
Yeah, and they got that weird grey too they used in it as well.
Yep, especially, is it Voodoo Grey that you're thinking of, the colour?
It might be,
Yeah. I think Scotty at SMS actually does a rendition of that straight out of the bottle.
Well, I'm pretty sure some of the listeners will be able to sort of tell me what I've got
definitely.
got wrong.
Look, that's right. Just a fascinating series of aircraft and pioneering. You had the likes of the pilots who actually test flew those, who basically fed into what we know now as Apollo astronauts.
Yes.
Mike Collins, command module pilot of Apollo 11, his job at Edwards Air Force Base was to flight test the F-104.
Yep.
So just for me, that whole Century Series is also partly interlinked, with that whole early sort of space pioneering era.
Yep. Feeds in.
Yeah.
You got any models in the competition?
I do, mate. So I've bought 4 up. They're the same 4 that I took to Adelaide.
Yep.
So I've got the Academy 72nd scale Hornet that I've done in RAF colours as operated during Operation Falconer. So I've made sure that's nice and weather beaten on top.
Yep.
So we'll wait and see how that goes. In the 48 scale jets, I've bought my Lockheed U2 that we just spoke about before.
The beautiful black that's not a black.
Yeah, that's it. And also my US Navy Aggressor A4 Skyhawk.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah,
gorgeous.
So I love that one. I've got a thing for scooters.
There's something
too.
about scooters, isn't there? Yeah, they're just gorgeous.
Yeah, that's it. And you can never have enough Hasegawa scooters.
No, they're so hard to get.
They are, but after the interview, I'll show you a picture of my stash of my scooters.
No, don't. You'll make me cry. You'll make me cry.
I do love my scooters. And there's some really cool aftermarket decal sheets that have come out for different, different scooter versions. Like, so for the A4K, there was a company who did like the whole historical series of Royal New Zealand Air Force stuff.
Yep.
It wasn't Caracal, it was somebody a bit closer to home who did like the whole Royal New Zealand Air Force story. So yeah, that's a scooter. And also too, I've bought my Qantas 767 for the civil airliners. I'm absolutely gutted because I was working on a Zvezda 1:144 scale 737-800.
Yep.
That I was actually doing in Qantas retro livery, and I was working on it till 4 o'clock yesterday morning, and I was just about to bolt on the last of the engines, and I just wasn't happy with the fit of the pylon onto the bottom of the wing. And I just thought to myself, it's too late to do anything about it. I'm not going to show it to my peers in that state. So that'll have a reveal another time.
It's like one of my Navy ships didn't make it up because as I was cleaning it, I found a couple of flaws in it. And no, I'm not going to put that on the bench.
No. The whole that's even worse. Like when you think that you've actually got it, ready.
Yeah.
And it is ready to go, and all of a sudden, oh no, yeah. Oh, well. But at least then, you know that you've got some fresh stuff to put in the face of, like, Expo for next year in Melbourne.
Yep.
And wherever else you want to go in the meantime.
Yeah, 100%.
Very true.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's been awesome having you on the show at last, Simon.
It's been great to be had.
Yes.
Best of luck in the show, and we're going to catch up again in the future, no doubt, because you're a Melbourne boy, so you're not too far away. Come over for breakfast and join us on the show one morning.
I can smell the bacon from here.
Oh, there you go.
Or is that the dead roos on the side of the road up here to Canberra?
There's
a lot of roadkill.
Roadkill was there.
Yeah.
But you counted 60, didn't you?
About over 60, I counted on the trip up here.
Yeah.
It's just,
Man.
I really, it was phenomenal. But, yeah.
everywhere.
Somebody ought to make a diorama of that.
All right, guys, thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
And we're back with Dave Hardigan, who I've decided to drag in front of the microphone just to talk to us and let everybody know about his experience about coming to his first show.
Yeah, it's been really good. I said to Dave earlier, actually, it's all his fault, and I'm blaming the on the bench guys that I'm actually here. I've kind of been looking at these shows from afar for a couple of years now, and COVID kind of prevented me from coming to one earlier. And then I was almost shamed into it when I heard you guys going on about you must attend, you must volunteer for judging and all this sort of stuff. So I threw myself into it pretty much feet first, and volunteered to do a bit of judging this year. And this is my first model show, entered my first model, and it's been great actually. It's been a really good experience.
Now, Dave, you don't sound like a local.
No, I'm not. Originally born and bred in the UK, and a long story as to how I got here, but we moved to Australia about 4 years ago, and I think we're making the stay permanent now, so I'm an honorary Canberran.
Well, I think you moved just in time, considering what's happening in the UK at the moment.
Absolutely, absolutely perfect timing.
So, would you do modelling back home before you moved out, or is it something new to you?
Do you know what? It's probably one of those stories that you hear over and over again. I was 10 or 11 when I started, did it for 4 or 5 years, then got into all the other typical things: beer, women, football, soccer, you name it. And then I actually joined the military and spent 20 years in the Air Force. And then we found ourselves over here about 4 years ago, and it was really COVID. I just thought I need something to do to occupy my mind here. Picked up a little Airfix starter kit and not looked back since.
Oh, there you go. So what are you building mainly? I guess because you're ex-Air Force, it's aircraft.
Yeah, it is. 72nd aircraft, while the eyes are still able to do it. Although I've been looking at envy with some of the 48 scale and 32nd scale things here. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the detail you can get into those things is great. So I don't think it will be long before the 48 scale comes out of the box. Much to the missus' chagrin.
I find 48 scale is sort of the scale that I like building in with aircraft, but 72nd scale has some really nice sort of stuff that you can't get in the larger scale, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's got the advantage of you can put loads of things on a shelf, can't you, as well? I've got quite limited space, so with 72nd scale, you can just throw 2 or 3 models in. Yeah,
that's true too. I guess it's good for saving space, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, not good for saving in the bank though, because you can get more in the space, can't you?
100%. How long have you been a member of the club here now?
I reckon about 3 years, like I say, just before COVID.
Yeah.
Unfortunately with the pandemic and the lockdowns, then I wasn't able to make any of the meetings. So really, this is my kind of, I think I went to one meeting before COVID, and this is my inaugural show, and really my first attendance at the actual at the ACT Model Club.
So for all those people out there who model away and listen to the show and have never attended the show, what would your words be to them?
Oh, just get down and do it. Yeah, throw yourself in. Why not? Like I say, it's been great. I've met so many people today that I've kind of conversed with over Facebook and that sort of thing, and I've dropped you guys an odd email now and again when I've been needing advice and help. And it's there's nothing like sitting in person with somebody and having a chat with them and how did you do that, and what about that, and what about this?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And it's amazing. I mean, with Ian and I, the amount of people who come up to us this weekend and saying g'day, and
it's great, isn't it?
Also saying, like you, we've met 2 other people who this is their first show.
Yeah.
And it was purely as a result of us sort of, saying, come on, get out there.
Oh yeah. Well, I was a bit disappointed actually, because I've entered my first model, and I thought, I'm not a bad modeler, I'm not brilliant, but I thought, people entering the first model show, might look okay up there. And I went and looked at the stand where all the people are entering the first models for. They're amazing. I was gutted. I saw my model next to some of them. I was like, oh no, well there we go.
And that's what's so good about this particular show. And as Peter Davis said at the beginning of the show when we had him on, the president, they got this new section for people who've never entered before. Yep. So it's a way of sort of dipping yourself in the toe.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Dipping your toe in the water without drowning first
Yeah, it's
off.
brilliant. And I judged the junior section actually in the models. I wish I could do that at whatever age they are, 14, 15. It's phenomenal. I know the tools are different today, and you've got airbrushes and acrylics and that, all the different types of paint. I think I had a hairy stick and a Humbrol tin when I was growing up, sort of thing.
As we all did.
The standard that these kids get to, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But it's all about skill and repetition, and the more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said, joining club and coming to a show, talking to people who've done it already, asking the questions.
Stepping
How
out of
did
your
you do
comfort
that?
zone.
Yeah. Seeing something you like and tracking down a person who built it and said, ask them exactly how they did it. And, that's how you learn.
Oh, it is. Yeah, learn by someone else's mistakes as well. It's,
Yep,
there's
that's
no
it.
point in repeating them, is there? So, yeah. I make enough of them on my own. I don't need other people.
That's
so,
right.
Well, mate, thanks for dropping by and having a quick chat in the show. Glad you're enjoying your first show. Glad you're enjoying listening to us.
Oh, absolutely.
And
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much for your support.
Great.
As well.
Thank you. It's been lovely meeting you both.
No
You too.
worries. Cheers, mate. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. And this time we've got Andrew from SpecMod joining us here to have a chat about what SpecMod do and tell us all about how your show's been going this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, guys. So the show this weekend has been going very well. It's pretty much been a record breaker for me.
I think I helped with that a bit.
Yeah, you did. You absolutely did. But I'm really surprised. Like, in the one day I've done more sales and helped people out than I have on a whole weekend at previous shows. So don't know what I've done there, but it's worked.
Yeah.
So that's
Definitely
been
has.
good.
So
And
SpecMod does what? What do you guys specialise in?
Okay, so I specialise in resin figures and busts in the larger scales.
Yep.
Stuff from Europe and right across Europe. Also from Korea. I was getting stuff from Russia, but because of what's
difficult to
going
get.
on, that's all gone.
Yep.
But that's all right. There's other brands that are out there, like especially Spain and Italy. They're really coming up with some really good stuff.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got some good sculptors there.
Yeah, there is very good sculptors, and all, across all fields as well, from your fantasy stuff right through to your World War One, World War Two, historical, even modern subjects.
Yep.
So very good.
And your range is right across, so it's from fantasy to World War II, modern sort of stuff, all right across the whole spectrum.
Yeah, pretty much. If there's something out there that I can get, it doesn't matter what era it is, I'll grab it, especially if it's a good quality product.
Yep.
There are companies now that I'm dealing with in Portugal, or one company in Portugal who does 3D printed stuff, and at the moment he's working on a full 120mm scale ATV Special Forces vehicle from Afghanistan period. So
Oh,
Very
that sounds
nice.
interesting.
very
definitely.
exciting. I've got no images yet to be able to show anyone, but I have seen it. He has sent me an image, but
Yeah.
I'm dying to share it, but I can't.
Yeah.
But
All top secret.
this is like real next level. It's amazing,
Oh, excellent.
So what's your modelling background?
mate. I started when I was about 6 years old from watching my dad build models. He used to do cars and aircraft.
Yep.
And from there, I just grew a fascination. And then one day he came home and goes, "Here you go, mate." And gave me an old Airfix, I think it was an Airfix or something, an F111
Yeah.
with a tube of glue. And he went, "Go to town." And I gave him my best crack. Probably looked like a nightmare, but I was as proud as punch. And then it just went from there.
Yeah. Didn't we all cut our teeth on the FX kits though when we were young?
Oh,
Definitely.
Yeah.
well, I grew up in Thornbury in Melbourne. And literally right across the road, we had a hobby shop on High Street,
Oh,
Thornbury.
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the name of that joint again? I can't-
It was right on the corner near
Yeah.
Dundas,
Yeah.
near Dundas Street.
Yeah.
There's an old, there was a hobby shop there, and he
Going-
still
that's
have all
going
the
back now.
all the Matchbox kits, all the
Yes.
old Matchbox and Airfix kits, and I used to go in there and. I think I was a nuisance to him. I was just asking him, you got some like, a little 10-year-old kid going, Oh, is that a good one? Oh, is that a good one? Oh, is it harder to build a tank than a plane?
Yep.
So you've moved you specialise, I guess, in figures and that. So
Yes.
obviously at some point in your modelling career, or that was something that sort of attracted you.
Yeah, I don't know. I was prominently for a long time an armour builder.
Yep.
Sort of started off mainly with World War II stuff, and then I got a little bit bored of just building Panzers and Tiger tanks.
Yep.
And I sort of transitioned into more modern era stuff because I just liked it, having served in the Australian Defence Force myself and seeing the Leopard tanks, and then the Abrams had sort of just come in as I was getting out.
Yeah.
I just love doing that era, and also I guess because of the wars in Iraq, Afghanistan,
Yep.
there was a lot more modern subjects starting to pile out from Meng and all these other big companies,
Yeah.
TACOM and that. They were
Yeah.
bringing out some really nice kits. So I guess I went to that. And then, I don't know, I've always painted the odd figure. And then in the end, figures just took over for me. I just seem to have enjoyed myself painting more than constructing. I think that's what it was. There's less construction, and sometimes the construction is what can do my head in. I think I've just got a short attention span.
Yeah, and it can bog you down.
Yeah, it bogs you down, and if you get interrupted while you're doing that, it's sort of harder to put it down if you're right in the middle of putting that tiny little bit of photo etched on.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Whereas a figure, I can just basically go, all right, put it aside, and I can come back to it later.
Yeah,
Sensational.
that is great.
So if somebody wants to, obviously not at the show this weekend, but wants to sort of get in contact with you or have a look, you get a website and a presence like that?
I don't have a website, and that's just for funding reasons.
Sure.
Because we're only a small one-man band, and I don't really. I only mainly go to shows.
Yeah.
Down sort of from Queensland down to Melbourne.
Right.
So I'm only basically relying on a few shows a year. So it's not a massive setup. It's more a hobby thing for me as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it helps me keep on the straight line. But basically Facebook.
Okay.
I've got a page on Facebook called Spec Mod Models Products.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say that again?
Yep, it's Spec Mod Models Products.
There you go. That's got it.
Yep.
So you just hit the join
Yep.
for that, and then I just sign it up. The only time I won't sign someone up is if they've got no profile photo and it shows no evidence of any connection to any modelling pages, which it'll normally tell you.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Then I'll normally go, nah.
You know,
and
too risky
it's-
for spam.
They're probably innocent people that just don't want too much of themselves out there, but I can't risk it.
Yep.
I'm not going to have someone ruin my page.
Oh no!
But
you don't
through
want that.
Facebook, they can reach out and do a private message to you.
Oh,
anyway.
100%.
Yeah,
That's once if they see something on the page that they'd like, because I pretty much every time I get stuff in, I'll post it, photos, price. They just contact me via a PM.
Yep.
Or if they put a post on there saying like, oh yes, please, I'd like this, then I'll contact them through PM.
Sure.
And then just give them all the details and it's done. And generally, if all runs smooth, I've got the product out to them either the same day or the next day.
Oh, that's good.
Well, Ian can certainly attest to the range you've got.
Yeah.
Because
About 5, I think. I've got
Yeah, maybe about 5. Yeah, I think you're due for some more.
I may have to, yeah.
well, thanks, mate. I'm glad you're having a great weekend at the show. It's a
Nah,
fantastic
thank you.
show, and thanks for popping in and saying g'day.
No worries. You're doing a good thing there, guys.
No, we do our
Excellent.
best.
Well done.
Thanks,
All right,
buddy.
mate.
Cheers.
Craig Everson and Ray Davis joined us now here at the Scale ACT 2022 Model Show. Hello, gentlemen. How are we?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Good, thanks, Ray. Craig,
Yeah, pretty good.
what's been happening, gents?
Oh, just enjoying the show.
Isn't it a cracker of a show?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
You guys entered anything at all? Oh, no, you didn't, Ray, because you're soft.
No, I'm too soft, mate. I'm too soft. I'm still a baby at this sort of game. But no, Greg over here, he's entered a couple.
Yeah.
You say you're a baby, but I'm looking at some of the stuff you're building on Facebook, and you're not quite telling the truth. You're doing all right.
Mediocre. We'll see that. We'll just say that.
You know, they've got a table here just for new people who've never entered before.
Yeah.
So, which is a great idea. And I think maybe next time, Ray,
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Got to dip your toe in the water, mate.
I've already been hounded by the missus as well, so I suppose if the missus says something, then maybe I
Better
should
do
do
it.
something about it.
Well, geez, if you got your missus pushing you to enter a competition, geez, you're doing well.
We'll see.
Craig, what about yourself?
Yeah, I've got 5 kits entered in today.
Yep.
Including the diorama of Fury versus Tiger 1.
Oh, that was yours.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tell us about the 5 kits.
Well, I've got that. It's the Fruit Production Tiger 1.
Yep.
And I started off with the Italeri Fury kit.
Yep.
But I ended up with the Tamiya Easy 8 kit and pinched a few bits and pieces off the Italeri kit to change it to Fury.
And you've got it in such a way so that the Easy 8 is actually firing.
Yep.
And you've got you've painted on the ground like the yellow flash mark, so you can see it illuminating the ground. It's awesome. Really well done.
Yeah, thank you. I've also got a Stug 3G.
Yep.
A figure, a bust just over here, Bushmaster, and an ATST in the sci-fi section.
Oh, good to see you doing some sci-fi stuff. Get to move away from all this armour.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. So, Ray, you travelled down, about 2 hours to get here?
Yeah, just over 2 hours.
Yep.
Supposed to leave at 7, but had to do a few things before I could be set free. But yeah, I left about 8 o'clock and was down here. I literally just arrived about 10 minutes ago.
Yep. As soon as you walk through the door, I collared you and put you on the bench. And Craig, how long was your drive?
About the same. I'm in the general area where Ray is.
Oh, cool.
So about 2 hours, 20 minutes for me.
Yep.
And I just arrived before you called us over.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, great. Guys, thanks for popping by and saying g'day. I'm glad you're enjoying listening to the show.
That's great.
And now you can actually say you've been on the show.
Yeah.
Ray's been
Yep.
so
You're now
long.
celebrities.
My 15 minutes of fame.
That's it.
Well, it's probably about 1 minute and 20 seconds.
That's what she said.
Ray's been a long time follower of the show. You go way back to when we first started.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, same as with the Posse guys. So,
Yeah, we don't want to talk about them.
Yeah, no. That's fair enough. Just delete that out.
No, I'll leave it in. They're a great bunch of guys. So
They are.
it's fantastic. All right, guys, thanks very much for dropping by and saying g'day.
Thanks
a lot.
guys.
Clayton Ockerby has dropped past to say g'day.
G'day.
How are you? What a great name, Clayton Ockerby.
I didn't really have a lot of say in that.
I've got to laugh because we went to the banquet last night.
Yes, we did.
For the club, and we had Chinese banquet. And then
A succulent Chinese meal.
Yes.
And then I noticed on Facebook that Sam Dwyer was with you, Clayton, at a pub. So I said to him, come on, let's go. So we jumped in the car and raced over to the pub.
Yeah.
Went to the Broken Spoke.
Yes. It wasn't the brokers, but it was bent spoke.
Oh, the bench spoke.
Spoke,
Well, there you
yeah.
go. Obviously, one of us had too much to drink last night.
And you were driving.
And I was driving.
It was broken by the end of it. Yeah.
Yes.
So we were there for about, 2 or 3 rounds, and then we wandered off to some other pub
Irish
somewhere.
pub, yeah.
An Irish pub. It was so funny.
Oh. A few sherbets were had.
We were having great... Because Clayton was trying to drag us over in to do some karaoke.
Well, that was later in the night. Yeah. That
And that didn't work out.
Unfortunately, the rooms weren't available. So
No.
next time we will plan this. Right.
We will. And then we were talking about, we were regaling the story, because Ian and I are in this really weird hotel that we're staying in at the moment. And it's comfortable and everything, and it's quite reasonable for the price.
Your room might be comfortable. They got me sleeping on a freaking mortuary table.
But it's a lounge room, and it's a bedroom, a little kitchenette, and a separate bathroom that we've each got.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's some weird people there, man.
Yeah.
There's just one chick,
Knickers.
and she comes walking out of with a glass of wine in her hand or an alcoholic drink in her hand, and she's just in her underwear and a t-shirt top.
Yep.
Strutting around at night time.
And during the day.
I haven't seen her out during the day doing that.
And Ian paid extra for this room, right?
Shh.
Oh, jeez.
But no, we had a great night last night.
Yeah, you really put on the drinks last night.
Yeah, I had a few.
A few.
I had a few, yeah.
was a couple of doubles and triples in there that I saw getting snuck in.
I'm certainly surprised he's functioning as well as he is this morning.
High tolerance to bourbon.
He's match fit.
He was just a little bit dehydrated, so when we got in the car to come down, I had to stop and get some at the petrol stations to top the tank off. So I got him a bottle of water, and he sort of revived after that.
Yep.
It's like a prune. You put a bit of water on it, it sort of pops back to being a plum, you know?
Oh, dear.
Anyway, enough of all that sort of stuff. So, Clayton, tell us what you do.
What I do in terms of modelling?
You
alright.
can tell us about in terms of what you do with not modelling, but
of course.
This is a modelling show.
Probably a bit inappropriate. So I'm Workbench Hobbies.
Yep.
I've been modelling for about, all my life, but sort of, the old drop out and come back to it in later life. Been modelling for about the last 10 years. Workbench Hobbies is my site, my website, Facebook presence. Do a lot of reviewing for the modelling news. Been doing that for quite a while, and also doing a bit of writing for Model Military International magazine. A little bit with model art, bits and pieces.
So, folks, for those of you who are listening at home, if you do read the modelling news, that's where you'll recognise the name Clayton Ockerby. He does a lot of reviews on that page.
I do, yeah. No, I've been doing that for a long time now, and it's good to be involved. And yeah.
So what's your workbench like at home? What do you sort of got on the go at the moment?
At the moment I'm building that TACOM Stug 42 or STU 42, whatever it is. Yeah, that 105mm gun one.
Yep.
Yeah, doing that. I've got a few commission builds for a guy from Brazil, if you can believe that.
Seriously?
Brazil?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hang on. Some guy from Brazil has got you to build some stuff for him.
Unfortunately, they're all the old Tamiya figures and white metal figures, and I probably shouldn't have taken it on, but anyway. It was one of those things you sort of put a price forward and don't think you'll ever hear from him again, and next minute this big box showed up.
Wow.
I'll text you guys a photo, it'll blow you away.
Yeah, all right, yeah, definitely keen on seeing that.
Yeah,
but how are you going to get it over to him without it, I'd be worried about it getting damaged.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've done a lot of commission building for guys in America before.
Have you really?
Yeah, and they seem to make it, so yeah.
So what's so special about you that people reach out to you?
I don't know. I guess you guys will have to answer that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess people see what I'm doing on modelling news and in some of the magazines and that, and just reach out through Facebook. They probably don't know I'm in Australia.
Yeah.
To start, and then the dialogue starts, and
Do you find it sort of impinges upon your enjoyment of the hobby doing commission builds?
This recent one will, yeah. There's probably about 12 months work in this thing that I've taken on, but not really. I mean, there's satisfaction in people enjoying what you're doing as well, so to produce something that somebody values, is exciting, and I photograph it and I'll put the photos up, so I feel like I'm not sort of losing it, it's there for me to enjoy visually at least.
Yeah.
No, I get a thrill. I get a thrill out of people enjoying what I'm doing, so...
But what if it's a subject somebody asks you to build that you got no interest in? Where do you get the enthusiasm to sort of,
it's just modelling, I just enjoy it. Yeah. It just doesn't really matter. And I've built the same kit a couple of times.
Right.
Do you guys know the Edelweiss tank at all? It's from it was a Zokimura kit, and it was like from a computer game, and
all right.
Again, I'll post some photos for you. But I've built that a few times because people see it and then, can you build me one? Can you build me one? And, but no, it's all right. No, I get juice from it.
Do it for the love of it.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I love it. Yeah, it's good. Absolutely.
And your actual website and everything. So, what do you provide there for people?
I make mask sets as well.
Yep.
So what I was doing with modelling news, when I would do a review, a paint review or build review, I would sort of put mask sets together for those things and then sell them through the website. The website kind of went off the ball for a while, and I let it go for a bit for various reasons. But anyway, I've started it up again now. So workbenchhobbies.com. And,
sorry, I didn't catch that. What was that?
workbenchhobbies.com.
There you go.
So we're selling the mask sets and stuff through there, but I mean, it's just a hobby really at the end of the day. If people want to access that stuff, that's where you get it.
Yep.
If you saw the little 72nd scale chieftain on the table with the Berlin Brigade, I've got a mask set for that as well.
Yep. Because was it TACOM put out the twin tank? Or the
yes, that's right. The 72nd scale ones,
Yep.
and they did the 35th scale chieftain back in the day, and that's where I put that mast set together. And
cool.
Yeah, because I'm in the signage industry and graphics and things, so it's easy for me to
Second
do my
nature.
own design and develop that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, it's good. I've got to talk to you offline about some swag for the show. So,
yeah, sweet. Yeah,
I've got these stickers made up, but they're not the best ones. But so I need to have a chat to you later on.
All right, well, I'll have a look. Yeah. No, I'd love to. Loving what you guys are doing. Yeah, it'd be awesome to support.
Yeah.
And,
Excellent.
It was a real privilege to go out with you guys last night. And,
We
we had a ball, mate.
Ian and I got to say, you were one of the funniest guys to go out with at night on a pub crawl.
Such a good time.
Well, So next year for Scale ACT 2023, come on down to Australian Capital Territory, and we'll have a night out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'll be here. This is a regular for us. So it's a good bunch of people. Great show.
Because you're north, you're up in New South Wales.
Sydney. Yeah,
Sydney.
Yeah. So 4-hour drive for us.
Yeah,
down
we won't hold that against you then.
Well, if you ever come to Sydney, I'll come and show you around. And
but Sydney doesn't have any good big model shows. So
no, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It is a shame. There's
So is modelling not huge in Sydney?
No, it's big. I don't know. Just people just can't get their act together.
Right.
It's just going to take a couple of motivated people to.
Yep.
Piece it together, do the legwork.
Yep.
And
I think there is a need, perhaps in Australia, and I know that Model Expo is sort of the largest show at the moment in the country, but I think there's still a gap or a desire to have a true national show.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm wondering, just sitting here thinking about this, whether that, ACT is perhaps the best place to sort of have that, because it's easy access from New South Wales, easy access from Victoria. If you're flying in from New Zealand, it's exactly the same to fly into ACT as if you were to Sydney or Melbourne. The South Australians perhaps a little bit further, same with the Queenslanders, but it's still doable.
Yeah.
Rather than, having it, and it's central. That's why the capital is put where it is, because during the founding fathers and all that sort of stuff, they wanted the central capital. So it's a bit of an idea and a thought there, and I think it needs to be explored a little bit more moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, I know Pete's pretty, pushing it pretty hard, and next year's looking really.
Well, it's going to be bigger
exciting.
and better next year. They're moving to a new location, which will be better suited. Not that this isn't better suited, but it'll be a larger facility. They've almost outgrown this. I know they're talking about some more sponsors and more vendors. And to get more vendors, you need a larger sort of area.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see how this is going to grow next year, and we can't wait to get back.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely been a good show this year.
And the exciting thing too is they're going to gold, silver, bronze next year, the full version of it, well, at least I hope to anyway, which is better than the 1, 2, 3. And Sam, at the beginning of the show, he sort of spoke about how it's 1, 2, 3 is quite unfair. And the fact that these guys are willing to sort of push that and go to gold, silver, bronze, I think it's sensational.
Yeah, they're working really hard to be inclusive, and
that's it, to be more inclusive. 100%. I mean, there's so many great models out there on the table that sometimes it's not fair that one is chosen as the top one when there's some other ones there that just equally as good. And you're deliberately looking for flaws to sort of just cut one out from the other. It's, hey, we're not talking about, the 100-metre race at the Olympics here, are we?
Yeah.
We're talking, where it's a defined 1, 2, 3. We're talking about something that's a bit more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, you're competing more against yourself.
Well, yeah. But anyway, I'm really excited to see where these guys take it next year.
Yeah,
it should be a lot of fun.
I'm nervous.
Why? What do you mean you're nervous? You get anything entered, by the way?
Here?
Yeah.
I've got heaps on the table.
Oh, okay. There you go.
11 entries over 9 categories.
Oh, wow.
Trophy hunter.
But I haven't. I haven't been since 2019. So.
Oh, okay.
Lots to catch up on.
And I would probably build about 14 or 15 finished models a year.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
Puts me to shame.
Where do you get the time?
I don't know. Like because I'm set up, I've got I've got the room that's set up, ready to go, and
my room's set up
but
as well.
I don't know. I just usually have like because stuff with modelling news and the magazines and things like that. Like there's time sensitive deadlines, you know. So you sort of have to be productive, you know.
Yep.
So like I would have like 2 or 3, maybe 4 on the go at any one time. And I don't know. I'm just efficient with how I build.
See, I'm not. I can't walk in and just sit down for 15 minutes and do something, get up and walk away. I've got to sort of put my modelling sort of brain on, sit down, get all set up, and then go into it. I can't just rock in and rock out, you know.
I do all my thinking before I actually get into the room, you know. That's,
I don't think.
I'm the guy. I'm the guy that lies in bed, you know, at night thinking about how I'm going to do something, you know, or watching telly, and you know. But actually, it's funny that MAK kit you saw on the tape, like with the you know, that camouflage pattern. I don't know if you noticed it.
Yes.
Yeah, like that. I struggled with that. It was really strange because with those MAK kits, you can do whatever you like.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
And I thought, wow, this is awesome. I'll be able to do whatever I like. And then I went, you know, came time to paint. It was like, oh God, what am I going to do?
Yeah, you got too many choices.
Yeah, it was like, it was almost like I needed the map, you know, like,
Well, I guess as modelers, we're used to following the instructions.
Yeah.
Following a set pattern. And then when all of a sudden you're thrown into, well, you can do what you want. You're like,
I did. Yeah.
Now what am I supposed to do?
I didn't realise how difficult that was going to be. Yeah. It was, which sounds so stupid, right?
Yeah.
But
that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's amazing how MAK has become so popular in the last, you know, year and a half, 2 years. It just exploded.
Oh yeah,
it really has.
I bought my first one when I was about 10.
Oh really?
Yeah, back in that would have been one of the first.
Oh, the old Nitto ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember opening it, you know, as a kid, and it had like mesh grills and springs and wires. And I was like, oh, what's this? You know, I was just hooked. Yeah. So but I never build them. You know, they're all in
I'm
the
the
stash,
same.
but
I've got a huge stash of the original Nittos at home.
Yeah.
I built one. Was it this year? I think, or last year? The Gustav.
Yeah.
It's like, and now that I've actually got myself Lincoln Wright's new book, it's like, I really should do something now.
Pretty inspiring.
It is. The book is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think that pretty much brings us up to the end of the show now. We've done a solid 2 hours here, so we've had a fantastic time.
We've had a ball.
Clayton, you can sort of join us in sort of signing off, which is... there you go.
Got a minute.
Hey.
So hang on, I've just forgotten. What was that website you can go to for your masks?
Workbenchhobbies.com.
There you go. All right. So, and of course, if you want a good time while you're out at night in Canberra, don't forget to invite Clayton and myself and Ian as well. We'll show you all the good pubs to go to.
And I will pre-book this karaoke for next time.
No, listen, let me tell you, if the boys won't even let me sing on my own podcast...
it's disgusting, Dave.
There's no way that I'm going to be singing the karaoke.
Yeah, come on.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for a fantastic weekend. Thank you, everybody here at the show. Thanks for all the organisers.
Yep.
Thanks for the invite out to the banquet last night. We've been well looked after by the club. We've had a wonderful time here. We've met so many fantastic people.
Yes.
All of our listeners have come up and said good day. All those people who have actually inspired to come to a show for the first time. I'm glad to see that the message is getting out there and people actually coming in and participating, even if it's only just to look around and you know and that.
Just to see what it's like.
Yeah, 100%. So we've had a fantastic time. We can't wait for next year. So
exactly.
All right, well, Ian.
That's it for me. Enjoy your modelling.
Clayton.
Be kind to each other.
Oh, that's good. All right, guys, thanks very much. We'll be back in a fortnight.